Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Eve Noob channel. I am Eve Noob, and today this is episode 2 of Alpha ISK Making Guides. So, in the last episode, we discussed an introduction. In this episode, we're going to focus on career agents. Career agents are a natural progression to the tutorial mission, and they start to talk about some of the career paths you can have in Eve. This can be found through the agency window, which we discussed in the last episode, Alt-M to use the shortcut. And right now, we are going to do the exploration mission. What you would notice is when you do accept a career agent, you can right-click and set your destination to go there, which is what we're doing. During the tutorial, however, when you do this, Aura is going to talk about autopilot. Autopilot is a button down the bottom. It allows for you to AFK travel through space. Do not ever use it. It is probably one of the worst ways to fly in the game. If you do not know, you can basically get ganked anywhere in Eve. Autopilot is a big attributor to this, and there's plenty of resources out there to explain why. So we will go to the station now, and we will start our exploration career. When you do dock in the station where your agent is, you'll see a window on the right. Underneath here is all the agents available to you. We are obviously going to be doing the career missions, so we're going to double click this guy and it's going to bring up a conversation window. When you do have a conversation, basically it will give you the mission details, it will give you the destination of the mission, what you need to do, the rewards for the mission. Every mission has basically a primary reward and a secondary bonus reward, which is when you do a mission in a certain amount of time. This one in particular, it's about 200,000 ISK if you do the mission, I think, under 5 hours, which is pretty hard to do unless you log out and come back later. So, exploration, whilst we're sort of fiddling around here, is the method of playing Eve, in which you basically go out into space and you look for certain signatures that are in space. Now, this is primarily done through, I guess, one method. There is a couple ways to do it, but exploration itself as a career path is pretty straightforward. There are modules in the game, which we will look at in a bit more detail later on, that you can put onto your ship, and there's certain ships that are bonused for this. In which you can basically scan down signatures and anomalies to warp into and do certain activities. These can range from combat to hacking, which is a small mini game within Eve, which is pretty fun. Mining is another one, so you could do gas mining, and things like wormhole exploration. So rather than flying from the center of the Eve galaxy to the outreaches, sometimes wormholes provide shortcuts to the fringes of space or to unknown parts of space. So in the career path of exploration, a lot of this is explained. It's also a great way to make some quick ISK. These career agents usually give about 500,000 ISK for each mission, and they provide 5 missions within the category. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of these. We're going to come back. We're going to evaluate some of the other missions. Now, I've already done the first mission here. So to complete a mission, just start the conversation, make sure you've got all the blue ticks, complete the mission, you get the ISK, and you also get standings. Standings are very important in missions. The higher the standing, the better the rewards, which means you can get higher level missions, which means you need a bit more skill, better ships, etc, etc. Some missions in the career path also provide you with items like ships and modules. This one in particular gave me a Bantam, so that's great for us because what that means is we now have an extra ship that we can fly. That's better than our tier 1 Corvette, which is basically a very, very simple ship. It doesn't have any features or anything that really we want to look at. When you do use ships in the game, make sure you change the name. And this is primarily because of some of the functions within scanning and looking at people around you. Always change the name of your ship. You'll notice my old ship actually had my character name in it. This is free intelligence for people who are chasing you. It's free intelligence for people who want to look you up and see what sort of a player you are. The aim of this game is to give as as little intelligence as possible. So we've taken our Bantam out, we've gone and we've actually, this mission gives you all the modules you need for exploration, the second one in the career path. We're going to go back, dock up. I think the next two missions are actually more crucial to how to play the game as an explorer. So start the conversation, complete that mission, get the ISK. The next one is actually probably going to give us a mission to go out and explore. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically put all of our new fittings on our ship. So a good way to strip fittings off a ship is to right click and strip fittings. That way we'll basically have all the modules off the old ship in our inventory. So here is our Bantam. What we're going to do is go back here. Where's my items? Oh, make sure your items are in your hangar. Bring them across, fit them onto the ship. So the probe launcher, that's the ammo for it, the analyzers, the afterburner, so we have speed. Why not put the guns on there? We've got enough room for it. Put some bullets in there. So now we have a exploration style fit. It's good enough for this, but technically the Bantam is not an exploration ship. So we're just going to basically use this to finish off the career path missions, because it gives you a good idea on how to use some of these modules. You'll need to do this anyway, because the Corvette does not, it will not take all the modules. Alright, we've got it fitted up. We've got the guns on there. We've got ammo. We've got an afterburner for speed, which is very important. So let's close this up. Let's take start the next mission. So the next mission is essentially going to be scanning. We got to get proof of discovery stuff. I'm actually going to do 2 sites at once because it's going to be faster. Completely up to you how you do this, but because there's so many signatures in this system, it's going to be very fast to just scan down everything we need. The only one we can't do straight away is the gas one, and you'll see why in a second. Undock, and basically now we're going to set up our scanning windows. So I talked about the scanning previously in terms of, being able to scan signatures and anomalies down. So you're going to click scanners down the bottom here, and then on the left, you're going to click probe scanner. This is basically where your probes go. What I like to do is undock that window and basically make this one a bit smaller for my scanning purposes. Now I will basically tether this one down, and then down the bottom here, you'll notice that there's green and red. Anomalies are green, that means that you don't need to scan them down. For the purposes of scanning signatures, I untick it, so there's less clutter on my screen. Then we will launch our probes. So you can launch them from down the bottom or click the module. I like to launch in a spread formation to begin with, and then you can analyze. This is essentially the mini game of scanning. So once it is analyzed, the next thing I usually do is I sort by signal strength to ensure that I'm scanning down the anomalies that I've scanned the most, because it's going to take, it's a numbers game. Basically, we can see we've got a data site, we can double click it and it will center it on our screen. Then we move our probes to be centered on the actual anomaly itself, or sorry, the signature itself, move it up, and then what I do is I pinpoint. So you will see now, we will click the pinpoint button and that will bring all of our probes in, make it a bit larger, do a scan, and what we're basically doing is we're pinpointing down a location in space with our scanners to essentially go and be able to warp to it once we've found it. This is Exploration 101. Scan signatures and anomalies, and you can see we've got this one ready and this one ready, data and relic. We'll need a gas site as well. Usually save the location in your bookmarks. So right click, save location. And the reason to do that is if you leave the system, these will no longer be scanned. But if you have a bookmark and you come back, you can warp back into it. It's just a good habit to get into. We've also got a relic site. I can see I've almost scanned down the gas site. Might as well scan it down. As you can see, we've pinpointed, we've centralized, and then we've done a quick scan. Shortcuts are great for these. V is the default shortcut for directional scan, which is a scan used for ships. B as in the letter B for Bravo, is the shortcut for the probe scan, the probe scan. Recover your probes, very important. Make sure you bring them back. Usually I reload straight away while I'm warping. This will save you time if you are an explorer that's doing multiple signatures or you're competing with other explorers to quickly get to sites. And then for the purposes of this exercise, we're basically going to warp to the site and we're going to do the mission. It's as simple as that. Now, it does get a lot more complicated because this is the career path mission. Obviously, these sites are not hard. There's nothing in terms of an issue in here. But generally, when you do sites, you are going to come across sites that have NPCs in them that are going to attack you. If you're doing them in wormholes, for example, there are sleeper sites. You're going to come across sites that are combat sites. Gas sites, for example, you can only find in wormholes. So there's a whole bunch of things in terms of the sites that you warp to. Now, the best thing to do is, if you are doing this in wormhole space, for example, if you can, have a browser open and search up the site's name, because the site's name will give you a very good idea of what you're going to encounter in that site. If you do search the site's name and you find that there's NPCs in there or it's too hard, just leave the site depending on what ship you're on, or use another ship to go back to them. And this is particularly useful for missions as well. Now over here we've got a good example of there is someone in this site. This can happen in the game where you warp in. Now depending on where you are, if you're in low security or in no security or in wormhole space, then that person could be waiting there to kill you. This is a very good example of why you should use directional scanner, the D-scan. The D-scan is essentially a scanner in the game which will give you intelligence on items and objects that are around you. So you can see I've got my directional scanner up now. I've also undocked that so that I don't have the graph. I've filtered this to be with my ships, so I can only see ships in the vicinity. And basically, based on that range and the angle, you can see if there's a ship within 1 AU, 2 AU, 3 AU, 4 AU, all the way up to 14 AU. And D-scan, no matter where you are, is very important to use. It gives you free intelligence. It's as simple as pressing V. You can just scan a whole system or quite a distance around you and understand what's going on around you. You can see there's ships around me, how far they are, etc, etc. So I've just warped to another site because I couldn't do that one because the guy there was basically hacking it. And now we're going to hack this box. This is basically data and relic sites. This is how they work. So get in range of your module, and then you activate your module on the box, and it comes up with a little mini game where you basically, it's like Minesweeper, and there is an art to this, so look up some videos around that, where you're going to press all of these little boxes to try and find the core. The core is essentially where everything is housed. Quick tip, if you have things that you can still click, do them first, and then click the viruses which stop you from getting to the core. So that's the core there. Open it up, and we just open the box, take the stuff inside. Usually the loot in these is fairly valuable and you can sell it, and that's where you make the money. But we're just going to continue on. We're going to do the other site, the relic site. It's the same thing. And then we're going to go back and do the gas site and continue on from there. As you can see, exploration for a new player can be very profitable. I've personally done exploration in wormholes where, 2 boxes that I've hacked have given me up to 60 to 100 mil. So exploration itself as a career path is very viable to be able to make good ISK. And the ships that you use in this can start from 1 to 2 mil. So you don't necessarily have to have a lot of ISK to have a ship to do this. You can do it in the Tech 1 frigate with standard modules. It's all about understanding the intelligence around you. So using your D-scan, using your probe scanners, scanning quick. Cloaking helps, but it's not necessary. It's essentially a way to make money fast as you start off. It's also very fun. If you enjoy sort of going into the unknown parts of space, don't get too scared about it. You are going to lose ships in this game. It's just a way of life, but you can potentially turn around and make 60 to 100 mil just by jumping into a wormhole, scanning down a site, hacking it, and getting all the loot. So it's certainly a really good way to make money. Now the gas sites can only be found in wormholes. They are sleeper sites. What that means is that for a certain period of time, within the gas site, you can farm the gas, and then after that these NPCs come in and attack you. It's about 20 minutes, so you need to be aware of your surroundings. There's also skills required for gas sites in terms of mining them, because they have special modules, so you need to have the skills for gas harvesting. So essentially gas sites are also a really good way to mine, make money, and at the same time understand some of the other mechanics of the game when it comes to NPCs. For the career path agent itself, this mission's simple. All you need to do is basically warp to the site. The reason why you need to wait and you can't just go and do it straight away is because you get a pass key, which you noticed in my inventory before. I'll bring it up again. There it is. So the pass key, some of these missions require pass keys to jump gates, so it's important to have an understanding of that. But basically we're just going to go into this site and we're going to do whatever it says: open a box, jump a gate, and that's another 200k there. So you've noticed within the 5 missions of this particular career path, we are going to receive 2 ships, we've received some modules to get us started, and we've received about 1.2 mil worth of ISK. This probably took me, 20 to 30 minutes. It doesn't take too long, and in 20 to 30 minutes, as a brand new player with very minimal skills, you've got 2 ships, you've got modules, you've got some ISK, you have a fundamental understanding of one of the best money-making methods in the game. Obviously, it's going to be hit and miss depending on what ships you're using and how you're playing. But at the same time, to have a potential of a 60 to 100 mil drop with a 1 mil ship, it's worth it. Like, it is worth it if you're looking for some quick ISK. So essentially, that's exploration in a nutshell. Now, I may have missed a few things, and I do apologize about that. It is very hard to cover everything in a short 10 to 15 minute video, given how complex this game is. But essentially, you can see here, we complete the mission. We've gotten 1.1 mil in the bank, and we've also got a heron now, and we've got all the fittings for it in terms of a very simple exploration fit. And now the agent will not talk to us because we've finished the career path. Career path's a great way to get started. I highly recommend checking out websites like Eve University, the wiki. eUni or Eve University has been around for a very long time. There's a whole bunch of in-depth articles in there that you can actually read and understand, particularly around exploration. There's some very good streamers on Twitch and YouTubers who are also primarily have done exploration as their career in Eve for a very long time. So check out people like Johnny Splunk, who's been around for a very, very long time and has done exploration for a very long time. Just to cap off the video, a couple of things. I do apologize for the puppies in the background. I'm taking care of 2 dogs at the moment, and I've been trying to record this video for a long time, and they keep barking. Today's the day they've barked the least, so I do apologize for that. If you do enjoy the video, like, subscribe, comment. If you haven't seen episode 1 and you're brand new to Eve, go check it out. Episode 2 is this one. Hopefully episode 3 will be out in the next couple of days. If you have some interesting ideas for the next couple of episodes, let me know in the comment section, because I can potentially do a video on those as well, or just a separate video outside of the series. But in essence, if you are new to Eve, enjoy it, take your time. It's not a race. It certainly isn't going to get you anywhere to try and do everything at once. Try to learn step by step. Take one day at a time, and try, when you are learning something, try to essentially understand it in depth rather than just as a theory, like what I'm trying to explain here. I'm giving you a 15-minute breakdown, but it took me maybe hours on end to get a full grasp of how exploration works. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next video.